Hey guys, today I'm going to be going over my Leatherman Charge TTi. This is the upgraded version over the Leatherman Wave and the Leatherman Charge. I've had this tool for about 10 months now, so I just want to give a quick review about the pros, the cons, some of the things I've noticed that the tools are good at, and maybe why this Leatherman wouldn't be for you and maybe why it is. For me, it was a good choice because of my line of work and just what I use the tools for worked really well for me. Starting off here, guys, the first small detail that I really liked about this Leatherman was the pocket clip. So the pocket clip is a big deal for me because my very first Leatherman was a Leatherman Wingman, okay? And on the Wingman, the pocket clip is not removable, and whenever you are using your Wingman quite a bit, over time it starts to develop this gap in between the pocket clip and the handle. So over time it starts to become more like this instead of this. So it's not very flush. So whenever you have it on your pocket, it tends to fall off and pretty much becomes useless because you can't remove it and you can't bend it back. So why even have it? But on these, the pocket clip is removable. So you could bend it back theoretically. And I really like it because it is a very nice pocket clip. So moving on here, another nice feature that I really liked about this Leatherman was the titanium handles. And I did pick the titanium handles because over the Charge, it is tougher than having those anodized aluminum handles that if you're using it quite a bit, I imagine they get beat up, bent, crushed in a little bit. And I knew I was going to be using this Leatherman for a little bit tougher type job. And I'm very happy that I decided on that. And another thing that I didn't mention here is I did send this Leatherman back to the factory to be refurbished. And to do that, I simply got on their website. I filled out a form with my information, what tools were broken on this, maybe how they were broken. And so I took this Leatherman and I took the form that I printed out that had everything on it and I put it in a prepaid box and I sent it out to Leatherman. And so a month later, I got my Leatherman back and I found that it had been refurbished. Sometimes they'll send you a brand new tool, but this time for me, it was refurbished. And what I found was that I did get back my original handles and the frame here. So the frame is this main piece here that all the other tools are attached to. And I was really happy because other than these two parts here that I got back, the original, everything else was brand new. So the knives, the needle nose pliers, everything else, they just gave it to me brand new, whether it was broken or not. I just had a few broken screwdrivers, but hey, they gave me all that stuff brand new. So can't say anything bad about that. I was really happy. So moving on to the multi-tool here, guys, we do have first the serrated blade. Now the serrated blade is very nice. I used it a few times to cut like rope and stuff like that, but the one time that I'm thinking about is I was cutting electrical wiring. It was a cable about that thick, and so what it's called is this type W insulation wire. It was a cable that had about 5 conductors in it, and so it was stranded, and I used this tool to just cut the cable in half. And I was really happy at how well it performed. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to do that, but it was what I had on me at the time, and it worked. So can't say anything bad about that. Also here, guys, is the safety hook. The seatbelt cutter was one of the main things that sold me on this Leatherman. After I started using it, I realized it was really good at cutting like zip ties. I use it to cut ratchet straps, and obviously it is good at cutting a seatbelt. And that does give me a lot of peace of mind because I do travel quite a bit, sometimes in excesses of thousands of miles per year, a lot more than likely. And I really like having that peace of mind, and it's a good thing to have if that suits you too, and that describes you as well. So moving on here, the next tool I'm going to talk about here is the S30V stainless steel knife. This is also one of the big selling points of this Leatherman. Great knife steel. This knife, I don't think I sharpened it once while I was using it on my original set of tools, but as compared to the Wave, the knife steel is obviously a lot better. I used the Wave and this for the same applications, and in my line of work, I'm cutting wire insulation a lot, just stripping it and a lot of that kind of stuff, and on my Wave, it went dull pretty quickly, but on this one, it held its edge pretty remarkably, actually, and I was really impressed with that. And I can't really say anything bad about that. This is one of the big reasons why you want to purchase this Leatherman, in my opinion. So yeah, there's that. And also, next tool I'm going to talk about here is the wood saw. Now, maybe I didn't use this wood saw quite a bit just because of what I do. I'm not really an outdoorsy type person or anything like that. But I did use it once. I mean, I was happy with what it did. I can't say anything bad about it, but hey, if you need a wood saw on you, this is a one way to have one on you. And the next tool would be the file. So on the file, there is a diamond coated side. This is if you're sharpening something. Maybe it's knives, maybe it's like hedge clippers or whatever it is you're sharpening. I don't know. It's there. And that is the wood / metal file. I use this somewhat whenever I was like taking burrs off of aluminum or steel, or just I found the sharp edge and I just wanted to smooth it down so I wasn't cutting myself on it. I used it quite a bit for that, but also I use this a lot for like a prying tool. So what I do for work, there's a machine that has belts on it. So I would take this and I'd jam it into those two belts and I'd pry the belt over to the side a little bit, and then I'd turn the wheel to get the belt off, and then I'd proceed to do the other one. So there was quite a bit of pressure on this, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't break. I gotta give a thumbs up for that, that it didn't break. I mean, I don't think it I wouldn't have been surprised if it did. But there's that. Also, something I should mention here that I never really saw a video of that had it, but on this, I don't know if you can see, but there's brass bushings in between the tools and the handles here. And it makes it that it's really smooth whenever you're opening up these tools. So whenever you open them up, it's just a very smooth glide. On my Wave, it was gritty and just felt uncomfortable. But on this one, it's great. I love it. So there's that. More you know. So getting into the Leatherman here, you obviously have your needle nose pliers, stainless steel, and on the newer ones here, they do have the removable cutters. Whenever I first bought this, I was amazed at how well it cut wire, because I was used to those wire cutters that were like one piece with the pliers here, and they're not comparable. On the older ones, they wouldn't cut for anything practically, but on these, I was very impressed. So on the removable wire cutters here, guys, we do have this raised portion here. That is, of course, for your electrical wire, solid stranded. Generally, I don't cut anything bigger than like number 10, but I mean, you're welcome to try if you want to see what happens, but I personally don't. And then on the inside here where it's divoted down a little bit, that's where you cut your hard wires. So maybe something like a coat hanger. I'm not sure what else. Maybe there's a lot of other things you could cut with that. And so those are your wire cutters. They worked well, really well in the beginning, until I had this on me for a while, and one of these screws got loose. And that's going to cause some problems, because I noticed at first that whenever I was using it, it started to jam. Like I would be cutting a piece of wire, and then the wire would just get caught in between these two cutters here, and then I couldn't open it back up because it was jammed and it didn't cut the whole way through. I couldn't figure it out, and then I realized that one of them was loose. So new problem for the removable wire cutters, but they do work well. And then of course you do have your regular pliers, your non-insulated crimper, and your insulated crimper. So the crimpers on these, they're okay, but they're just okay. Me personally, if I'm going to be doing any kind of serious job where I'm serious about what I'm crimping, I'm just going to be going and getting my Klein crimpers, and I know that they'll do a really good job. I mean, these will work, of course, but generally I've only used them like whenever I was in a pinch to do something, and I was just in an awkward position where I couldn't get to my other crimpers. But they are there if you need them. And then, of course, you do have your needle nose pliers here. Something I really learned to appreciate about the needle nose pliers is that you'll notice whenever you close it, if I can get a good, whenever you close them, here at the very point, that is completely touching. The very tip, they're both touching. That's because whenever they make these, they make them straight this whole half side here. They make them straight, and then they bend them ever so slightly, and that's what makes it that they perfectly come together there. And if you're picking something up or trying to hold something, whatever specific application, you'll learn to like that. So there's that. There is the ruler here on the other side. I don't really think I'd use this much, but I think it's there for like if you're a fisherman and you want to go like oh, how big is this fish I just caught? You could like measure it like that. But it is there. So moving on, there is the can opener, bottle opener, whatever. And there is supposed to be what they call a wire stripper right there. But I never really used it. I mean, if I'm using anything to strip wire, if it's anything below 12, I have another tool that'll do it a lot better than this. This is really rudimentary. Can opener, bottle opener, you'll use that occasionally. But it's there. It's one of the 19 tools. And then this is the medium screwdriver. So the medium screwdriver, it's good for whatever application you might find. The only problem that I found with my older tools before it got refurbished is that this did chip off, this bit. It did work well while I was using it. I mean, then again, I also did break this large flat blade, and that was part of the reason why I was using that one harder. But that, take it for what it's worth. It might break on you if you're using it a little bit too hard, so watch what you're using it for. There's that. And over here, there is the watch screwdriver here. So this is a really tiny thing. I use this very rarely, but the one time that I did use it, I was trying to use it on like a really, really small screw terminal, but it's just a really, really small screwdriver that it took to do it. I tried to do it with this and it chipped that off. So not only did I break the large one, the medium, then I just broke the small. So I had all three of those down. I didn't have a single working flat blade screwdriver on this thing till the end before I got refurbished, but there's that. The scissors, I really like having the scissors on this. I always had like a bigger pair, I guess. I think they're a little bit bigger, at least on my Wingman that I had. Those were always nice to have. On the Wingmans, of course, though, it was like as like a main tool that you had like here on the outside here by the handles. And that was always nice to have, but these are really nice too. I like these. Again, this is a tool that whenever you need it, it's going to be there. And you carry this thing on your side every day, and you're going to learn to appreciate it. Finally here, guys, I'm going to talk about the accessories that come with this Leatherman. So you do get this bit kit with the Leatherman, and me personally, the only bit that I really could find useful for what I do is maybe this square bit here. You can use that on like ground bars, neutral bars for the screw terminals, and that would be useful for that. But you do get a few other nice bits that come with this. And but there are more bits that you can get from them. I don't know if you could buy them off their website, something like that, probably. But there's that. And then you do have this holster that comes with it. So on this holster, it is a button on the front. I think on the older ones they did have like Velcro or something like that. But you have this nice black holster here. Goes through your belt loop. Use your belt to hold it onto your side. And you do have a pocket here in the back that you can slide this bit kit into, and it will stay in there. And so the Leatherman does fit pretty nicely inside of this. It's just that you do have to take off the pocket clip as I just did for it to fit right. But it is a very nice holster for this Leatherman. And then you do have like a side compartment here. That's a good spot for like a extended bit driver that they do sell on their website. But me personally, I did find that my Leatherman Squirt ES4, it's like a T-stripping multi-tool. I'm going to do another review on that one. But I found that it fits perfectly in there. So if I'm going to be holster carrying a Leatherman, I can just right away throw my second Leatherman in there. And that'll work pretty nice for me. But you can throw like a small flashlight on there if you wanted. You know, it's there if you're needing to do that. But And then you do actually get this lanyard ring here. So this would clip in the same as a pocket clip would, just to show that it does go right here and it locks in with the tool lock, and you can use that. But there is another like lanyard ring here that I'm using. So I did tie this paracord around here so that whenever I have this in my pocket, I don't have to dig around this thing to pull it out of my pocket. I can just simply grab onto this and pull it out. I don't have to dig around it to get it out because I have the pocket clip on or anything like that. So overall, talking about the pros and the cons of this Leatherman here, guys, you obviously do get the titanium handles. You get the better knife steel. You get these crimpers here on the needle nose pliers. And finally, you do get that safety hook / seatbelt cutter here. The cons, the most significant one obviously is the price. This thing does run you at about $165, $170. If you're not willing to pay that for something like this, the Wave is another good Leatherman. It maybe doesn't have some of the Gucci features that this one does, but that one runs you at about $100. You get a similar Leatherman, but that was the one that I had before this one. Or maybe if you're going cheaper than that and you're looking for more of like a starter Leatherman, you can get a Wingman or a Sidekick or something like that, like I did. And those will get you a good introduction to Leathermans. So guys, they obviously do make many different types of Leathermans. They make them for the outdoorsy type situations. They make them for military, law enforcement, EMTs. There actually is one for EOD techs as well, for like the guys dealing with the explosive ordinances and stuff, that has like a C4 punch on it. So obviously there are many different types of Leathermans, to which I'm going to provide in the description a link to this Leatherman and maybe some other Leathermans that you want to check out. Guys, if you'd like to support the channel, please like, comment, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Thank you, guys.